Yo, what is going on? Welcome to another Beyond Plug and Play video. I'm your host, Logic Motion, and yesterday we had the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, just revealing the specs, the overall performance of the system, what we can come to expect on the release date, June 5th, of this Nintendo Switch. And there was a ton of things that I liked about it, and I just wanted to go over it. Like, I'm not going to give like reactions or anything, but I just wanted to go over like what is awesome about this and just overall like everything that they really discussed on at least the spec side and the just performance that we can come to expect from the Switch 2. One of the things I was impressed with was the screen resolution on the Nintendo Switch 2. On the Switch 1, we're coming from 720p. On the Switch 2, we've bumped it up to 1920 by 1080p, which is awesome. Not only that, but we're getting 120 FPS refresh rate on this Nintendo Switch 2 in handheld mode. Dude, that is awesome. And when I saw that announcement, I just couldn't believe it, because when you've come from the Switch 1, like all the games, like a majority of the games, first party games, a lot of them were at 30 frames. Like, yes, there are some that run at 60, but they barely hit that 60 mark. So you're telling me now that we have 120 refresh rate, and I'm not expecting every game to run at 120, but just the idea that it can do that is awesome. Just having that option is amazing. I wasn't expecting that at all from Nintendo, because they usually don't focus on performance. It's usually game first, performance later. We don't care about that, right? And, and then they're very innovative, so they're coming up with different ways to do stuff. They're not just, okay, let's see how strong we can make our console like PlayStation and Xbox are, right? So this to me was like a huge highlight. Like, we're still getting the innovation, the handheldness from Nintendo, but we're also getting that performance as well. And one of the other things I was excited for was the VRR support, variable refresh rate, on the Switch 2. When the Direct was going on, I didn't hear any mention of VRR, variable refresh support. So I was worried. I was like, is it not going to have it? Because the Steam Deck doesn't have it. And that's one of the things that kind of, I wish the Steam Deck had it. Still great, still awesome console, but VRR is just, it's so good. It makes all the difference. And so you're going to have it natively on your Switch in handheld mode. And then if your TV supports it or your monitor supports it, you're also going to have it there. So that is going to be awesome in dock mode or undocked mobile. I'm just happy to have VRR support. I can't wait. Like, it's like all these features. I was just like, man, this is a modern Switch console with modern like features that like almost every console now has. Like, it's just so it's so cool. This is what I wanted. And then I'm getting the performance as well. We're also getting HDR, right? So you're gonna have HDR on obviously the handheld portion, and it's not an OLED screen, it's LCD. They called it a LCD Vivid. Personally, I just don't think HDR pops like that on an LCD. I'm pretty sure in 2 or 3 more years they're probably going to release an OLED model, and the HDR on that, it's going to look great. It's going to look fantastic. I can guarantee it. So I can't wait for that. I don't know if I'm going to wait that long to buy one. I'm definitely going to get one the first year, but I can't wait for that. HDR on a LCD, if you haven't seen it on the OLED, it's going to look amazing. You're going to be like, bro, this is great. But if you've seen an OLED TV and you've seen HDR on the OLED TV, it's probably not going to be that impressive in my honest opinion. But like I said, if you've never seen it before, you'll probably be okay. It's really not a big deal. But HDR, it truly makes your game pop. I first experienced it on PC, and it brings the colors out. It brings a game to life. It really just makes you go, wow, this is beautiful, especially when it's set up properly. It is just it's beautiful. That's all I can really say. And while we're talking about HDR resolutions and VRR, we can kind of just go into the dock. So when you're docked, you also have 4K support. So, and I was like, no way, in Nintendo Switch, it's doing 4K? That's great. Metroid, the new Metroid game, is going to have 4K support, 4K 60. And then if you want to go down in resolution, you do 1080, 120 docked. That is so crazy to me, because I wasn't expecting Nintendo to do 4K anything unless it was like, oh, you're watching a movie or you're streaming something like that. Obviously, I expected it to do that. I didn't think we were going to get any games that were really going to support 4K or anything at all. So to see that is awesome. I mean, Nintendo is the only like console manufacturer that uses NVIDIA, and they really knocked it out of the park. I don't know if they're going to be using any DLSS. They might call it something else because it's a Nintendo console. They usually do things like that. Like, you know how there's PSSR, right? There might be like Nintendo LSS or so. I don't know, right? They might have something like that. They didn't say anything about that though, but since it is NVIDIA, and I'm sure they are incorporating some of NVIDIA's tech, there will be some form of upscaling, right? When you look at the dock, in letters below, it was like if a software doesn't support like 4K, then it will be upscaled to 4K, right? So it would take like, let's say like a 1080 image and just kind of upscale it to like 4K so it doesn't look goofy. When you looked at the dock, inside there's like 3 little ports. You obviously have your power, you have your HDMI, you have your Ethernet. So a Ethernet port comes directly on the dock now. I know with the OLED Switch, I think the OLED Switch had a Ethernet port on there. So I'm happy to see that they haven't regressed. They've just brought that over to the next model. And that's good, because when you had the original dock, not many people are going to go out of their way to get a Ethernet adapter if you play fighting games on your Nintendo Switch, or if you play Smash. So a lot of people, it kind of ruins the online economy in fighting games, Smash, anything like that that requires precise internet at all times, because not everyone's going to go out and get an Ethernet cable. Not everyone's going to go out and get that adapter for their Switch. So this kind of eliminates one step in that. So you have one less thing to do to get your Ethernet. I'm not saying it's going to make people like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do Ethernet now, because everyone's situation is different. Not everyone's able to run a long Ethernet cable or however Ethernet cable to their Switch and play like that. Like Wi-Fi is really their only option. And I get that, because that was me when I was a kid. I didn't really have that option to run Ethernet. So I totally get it when people are like, I can't run an Ethernet cable, or it's just not possible for me. So I totally get it, but I'm happy that they made it accessible. It's just, boom, you buy your console, it's on your dock. You don't have to take any extra steps to get like a adapter from like Amazon or something. So that's awesome. And you're also getting 2 USB-A slots, so you can slot anything in right there on the dock. And there's a fan inside just to keep it cool, because playing at 4K is probably going to get a little hot. But I just think I'm just so impressed with Nintendo for focusing a little bit on it's awesome to see, especially a company that usually doesn't. I'm hoping like let's get our games, like let's make 60 frames the default. Let's make 120 like a rare exception, obviously. This is just good news. Even if we can only hit like 4K 60 or whatever, I'm happy with that. If we have to hit 1080 120, I'm happy with that too. Like I love having fluidity in a console. And I was watching this in the morning. I was just so impressed. I was like, dude, 4K 120 frames, 16 frames, like that's awesome. So once again, I'm very happy with the performance that they talked about. Now, I do know that not every game is going to have 120 support, and every game is going to have 4K 60 support, right? Some games are going to 4K 30, right? When you looked at the Elden Ring trailer on the Switch, I don't know if it was being shown off on the Switch too. It looked a little choppy. So I'm not saying every game that comes out is going to be like perfect, run at 120 or whatever, but it has the capability, and that's awesome. I like to hear that. Oh, and before I forget, micro SD cards. I was pretty sad that, so I already have micro SD cards, right? I have a bunch just laying around or whatever. And I was sad that you can't really use those. They're only taking the newest standard. So the micro SD Express is what it's called. And it's just like a new, faster standard. It's better than your original micro SD card. It's just better. Just flat out simple, it's better. I would have really liked just like a cross compatibility. Like, hey, even if you don't have the Express card, you can still use the original micro SD cards. Just because I have a bunch laying around, that would have been nice. You're not going to get the speeds of the Express, but they will still work. It'll just be a little slower. Unfortunately, they didn't go that route. They're saying only the Express cards are going to be compatible. So I was a little disappointed about that, especially when the micro SD cards, the original ones, they go on sale for like really cheap. And I don't know if they're in cahoots because these express cards are going to be expensive. I mean, the only two companies that I saw that were like that have them is Samsung and SanDisk, and they're like, we're going to release these in the third quarter. So they're going to be expensive, and they know for a fact probably that the Switch is coming out. So I'm sure they're in cahoots. They're like, yeah, we're going to mark these up. If you want the 1 terabyte version, you're probably going to end up paying like $200. So these cards are going to be expensive. And it is unfortunate that we can't use the previous cards. And I didn't write down any notes for this topic. I should have, but it's about the pricing of the game. So I know the price of the Switch itself is $450. Honestly, that's a really good price, but we're going to skip past that. And we're just going to talk about the game price. So the games digitally are going to be $80. And then the games physically are going to be $90, which is honestly outrageous. And I will give like a disclaimer. I know games have not been adjusted for inflation. So we've been paying $60 for games for 2 decades now. There are countless articles of devs, publishers, even your favorite dev, your favorite publisher, Baldur's Gate, saying games need to cost more. Obviously, I don't want to pay more for games. Nobody does. But this is one of those things where it's like, it was eventually going to happen. If it wasn't Nintendo that started the race to raise games, it would have been GTA. Because basically, the only way for this to happen, for game prices to go up dramatically like this, is a major corporation or huge game that no matter what people are going to buy has to make the first step. So if it wasn't Nintendo with this, the $80 to $90 games, it would have been GTA. Because no matter the price, obviously if it's not like too outrageous, like people aren't going to pay like $300 for GTA, right? But if it's like 100, 120, people are probably going to pay that price for GTA 6. So I don't like it at all. I'm not saying I like it. What I'm saying is you have to understand it from the other side, right? Okay, we've been paying $60 for games for over 20 years, right? Okay, inflation is getting worse. Everything's adjusted, but the price of like games, right? So, and all your favorite developers, all your favorite publishers, there's articles all around saying the price of games are too low, they need to go up. So it was eventually going to happen. I do think it's unfortunate. I wish we lived in a better world where we could keep the pricing, but the way I see it is this first year will be a test. So will people buy it? Yes, they will. The second year will be, you'll start seeing other companies do it. You'll start seeing like your Call of Duties, your third parties, your Ubisofts, your EAs, your 2Ks, like they will do it. That third year, you're going to see all AAA titles usually that will do it. Indie games will probably still be okay, but most of your AAA titles will probably be $80 to $90. It will be across PC, PlayStation, and the Xboxes. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? The only thing you can do is not buy the Switch. And even if I were to tell everybody, don't buy the Switch, don't you dare, don't you buy a single Switch, it wouldn't matter. Even if I were to tell all my friends, it wouldn't matter. Every single one. If I were to tell all my friends, don't buy GTA 6, because if you do, they're going to increase the price of all the games, it wouldn't matter, because people are going to buy it anyway. It wouldn't matter. Even if all my friends listened to me, they're like, you know what, Logic, you're right. Like, and I had like, let's say I had like 200 friends, it wouldn't matter. I'm just saying, it would not matter. That's how big these games are. They basically can just, it's such a big game that it doesn't matter whether you buy the game or not, it's gonna sell. It's just how big GTA is. That's just it. There's nothing you can do. And that's similar case with Nintendo. Even if I sit here and take a stand, like I'm sticking up to the big man, I'm boycotting, I'm not gonna buy, like it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. So just throwing out the 2 cents there for the $80 to $90 games. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't want to pay more for games. Games are already expensive. Hardware is expensive. PC gaming is expensive. All this equipment is expensive. But it's just one of those things where, what are you going to do? It's going to happen regardless. With or without me, this train is moving. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about for the Switch. I was really excited for just the performance in general, the watching the direct. Obviously there's a ton of games that are out there, but we're not going to go through all of those. But I mainly wanted to touch upon just like the performance, the features, everything, the enhancements with the Switch. I think they did a great job with that. 1080p handheld, 120 FPS, variable refresh rate, 4K support, like all that is awesome. HDR, like all that is awesome. Bigger screen. It is amazing. They did a really good job. I did not expect this amount of performance out of them, because Nintendo usually never focuses on performance, right? I wasn't expecting 4K anything besides Netflix. I'm so serious. So to see that in games, and even an upcoming game, Metroid, it is just so cool. And like the Switch is going to be like a heavy hitter. It's going to be up there with PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. You know, I'm not saying it's going to be neck to neck with them, right? But it's here to compete too. Like it's, you know how some games will come to PlayStation, Xbox, and they won't ever hit the Switch because, oh, there's not enough power there. Now there is, right? So that's cool to see. And in tandem, I usually I always have like a PC and a Switch, right? I think that's like a perfect combo. I don't usually because I have a PC. Most of the PlayStation games end up coming to PC, right? Same with Xbox. I mean, there's no real reason for me to have like a partner in crime PlayStation here, a partner in crime Xbox here. But there's a real reason to have a Switch on my desk now, a Switch 2, because the Switch 1 is on the floor in the living room. I'm not touching it because the performance is just not there for me. There was a time where I did, but it's not there anymore. But this, I'm clearing out of space. Oops, I'm clearing out of space for my Switch 2. I'm excited just thinking about it. Just all these new features. It's cool. I wasn't expecting. They blew me away. They blew me away. They did a good job. They did a great job. So I'm happy. I'm just happy with the overall everything with the direct. Obviously, I don't like the $80-$90 games, but everything else is great. It's fantastic. Let me know what you guys think about the Nintendo Switch 2. Let me know what you think about the performance, just like the overall games. Tell me how you feel about the $80-$90 games. Tell me what you think about the price of the console itself. I didn't really touch upon that, but like, I think $450 is a good price. I think that's not bad. They're probably selling that at a loss. They could have definitely been like, all right, $500, but they probably wanted to undershoot the PlayStation and Xbox. That way people are like, I'll just go with the Switch. But no. Like I said, I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think. This has been Logic, and I'm gonna head out. I could talk about this all day, but I'll see you next time. Take care.